The animation begins on an island, and we see Moana dashing across the island and lands a jump. She continues her journey and goes to the top of a mountain. She enjoys the view and tries to reach out to other villages. Pua is about falling, and she tries to rescue him. She falls down and sees something. She goes to check Hey and finds something that proves other villagers may be out there. Moana is joyed, and they return to Motunui. She sails for days, and she returns back home. Her dad comes to meet her on the sea, and they race back to the island, having fun with each other. As she finally arrives, the villagers come outside to meet Moana. Her dad also asks her about her journey, and she shows him the item she found. She said they didn't make it, so it's proof other people are out there. She says she just has to figure out how to find the stars. Moana's sister comes running out, and Moana excitedly embraces her. Later, Moana takes Simia to a cave. She shows Simia the boats, and tells her before Maui stole the heart of Tefiti, the last way navigator of Motunui, wanted to connect the islands to other people of the ocean. She says it's her duty as wayfinder to finish what he started. Maui is in his eagle form. He flies to a place, and he untransforms. He asks someone to open a portal to an island. She says Maui would just team up with his human. And Nola is a god who will destroy Maui and Moana if they try to reconnect the ocean. She says since Maui made Moana a wayfinder, she has everything to do with it. Maui jumps to fight her. Back on Motunui, the villagers are celebrating Moana's return. She tells them to eat up, and her dad comes to meet her. He says tonight isn't just about the feast, and the people want her to be a leader of the entire sea, and they want her to honor the title of a totai. They do a ceremony and drink from their ancestors' bowl. Chief Tui says the ancestors will guide Moana. They give her a bowl, and she says she is honored to serve them. The clouds brew, and suddenly she is struck by lightning. She sees the last wayfinder and follows him in his adventure. Everything is changing, and she ends up on an empty island. He tells her this is her future if she cannot find their people. He says a fire in the sky would guide her to Motafitu, and she has to go farther than he was able to reach. She regains consciousness and tells them about Motafitu. They do searching and find out Motafitu was an ancient island that connected the people. The island was cursed by a power-hungry god Nalo, who wanted to weaken them by separating them. They believe reaching Motafitu would break the curse, or their story may end. Moana goes outside and sees a beautiful shooting star. She then remembers the fire in the sky. Chief Tui is a bit worried that Moana may not come back. Simia hears this and is sad. Her mom tries to reassure her that she will be ready. She sings about leaving her family to chase what's beyond, and now she must journey far from home to skies she's never seen. She is worried about leaving her life for a people that is still to be found. She wants to sail beyond, but is worried Simia won't understand. Her grandma comes to meet her and asks her what she's so worried about. She tells Moana they never stop choosing who they are. Moana agrees to go beyond and sail the sea. Her mom tells her she will need a crew to sail the seas, so she recruits her friends and the old man to help her. She tells Simia she will come back. She says the ocean is their friend and it connects them. Simia gives her a piece to keep safe. Moana goes towards her boat and hugs her family goodbye. They then set sail to find Motafitu. Meanwhile, Maui has been captured and is trying to escape. The woman from earlier comes down and says she's hoping to meet Moana. In Moana canoe, her crew are all adjusting, and everything isn't going according to Moana. She says the ocean is counting on them, and they have to rise to the moment. She sings about funding their rhythm and tries to bring everyone together. Her crew are starting to embrace it, and they're having fun together. But there is a sudden explosion in the sky, and the star they are to follow is gone. The current starts getting stronger, and they cannot control their ship. They see the Kakamuras, but they are not attacking Moana and her crew. She sees a giant monster and does her best to steer away from it. She is successful with that, and she dodges the attack from the Kakamuras. Their canoe crashes, and she is face to face with them. They paralyze Moana and her crew. They carry them to their ship and sits her up. They tell a story about their island. and that their island was separated by Nola also. And they've been trying to get home ever since. They make a deal to defeat the clam, and Kakamura's leads them to Motafitu. After they are mobilized, they use the toxins from the fish and makes their way towards the giant clam. Moana is about to paralyze it, but something goes wrong. They lose all their spears and are dangling. A Kakamura runs in and throws a spear to numb the clam. The clam starts to close up, and they try to escape. He cuts off the rope to save others, and they fall deeper in the clam. They fall even deeper, and Moana is separated from them. They call out to Moana Bath. She can't be found. A millipede-like creature is stopped by the Kakamura from attacking them. They fall even deeper and accidentally freeze Maui. They help roll him, and he gets on his feet. He manages to get his hook and transforms. He frees himself and tells them to be safe. He is about leaving, and he sees Heihei and realizes Moana is around. Moana regains consciousness and sees an illusion of her sister. Simia tells her she will fail, and her ancestors will hate her. She wakes up and fights with a bat. A bat lady shows up and tells Moana to calm down. Moana holds her down, and she tells Moana her name is Matangi. She asks Moana if Maui never told her about Matangi. She asks Moana to follow her. She then tells Moana what Moana has been up to. She takes Moana and says that her point is to find her way. She plays the victim and says she wants Moana to beat Nalo. She sings and tells Moana to have fun and to stop playing it safe. She is trying to advise Moana to get lost in the fun. She says Moana has a chance and that she should cut loose. Moana falls down and uncovers an ancient markings. Just then, Maui shows up and says he's here to rescue her. Moana says some chance, and she is able to open up the portal. Maui and the others get sucked in. Matangi tells Moana she's got this, and Moana jumps in. She then says if Nala found out she helped them, he would end them. They are sailing on a magic sand, and the crew are happy to be back together again. Moana goes to embrace Maui and is telling him about everything. He stops her and tells her they will die. He said Nala hid Motafitu in a very deadly storm humans can't reach, so he has to break the curse, and there's a chance they will die. He says they are there, and they pop up on the ocean. Moana says everything is all right, and the consolation is right there. She says maybe they can break Nala curse by coming together. She says Maui and lift the island, and she'll step on it to break the curse. She calls out to the ocean, and Maui says the ocean can't help her here. She sees a light coming towards them, and a giant creature shows up. Maui takes care of it, but other creatures start showing up. He says they have to outrun until sunrise. He transforms and goes to help. The rest try to steer the boat, but are having issues. The creatures hits the boat, and Moni falls into the ocean. The creature is about to attack them, but it runs from the sunlight. Maui shows up after rescuing Moni. They wash up on an island, and Moana finds the past wayfinder ship. She is upset, and Maui goes to meet her. Moana says she doesn't know what to do, and she doesn't want to be the reason her people's story ends. Maui reassures her and says Moana lifted him up. He says there is a way out. He sings and asks her who is she going to be. He says she should unlock her destiny, and she can do it. Moana goes to meet her crew, and they show their fixed canoe. They plan to take Nala down and continue their story. They go towards the storm, and it gets increasingly aggressive. Maui does his best to stop the lightning, but Nala keeps sending it towards Moana. Maui takes a hit to save them, and more storms appear. They realize Nalo is after them, and they can use it to distract him. They plan to bring the mast down, so they can maneuver the boat better. Maui transforms into a hawk and flies towards the storm. They bring the mast down and reconstruct it to boost themselves even more. They are able to dodge the storm, and Maui moves deeper into the middle of the storm. He uses his hook to grab the island, and Moana struggles with the boat. Maui raises the island, and Nala's storm gets worse. Moana sails towards Maui, but they have to overcome a wave. They manage to get past it, but Maui is struck by lightning. His tattoos are erasing, and there is an explosion. Their ship is blasted away, and they get afloat. Moana realizes there is another way to reach the island. She tells them to find Maui, and she dives in. She avoids Nala lightnings and goes towards the island. They rescue Maui and bring him to safety. Moana is struck by the lightning, but she reaches the island at the last moment. She sends a wave that breaks the curse and storm. Maui wakes up and dives in. He swims towards her and reaches her. The ocean creates an air pocket for them to breathe. Maui sings a song, and the past wayfinder joins him. The other ancestors join him, and they sing the song. They start to glow, and a tattoo appears in her arm. She regains consciousness and is amazed to see her ancestors. Maui Hook returns to Jim, and so does his tattoos. Moana's spades come to her and has the effect. Her grandma tells her goodbye. Maui flies up and uses the sky to raise Motafitu. Moana blows the oyster and pathways come alive again. Her crew come to the island and embraces Moana. They see their island and other islands connected to Motafitu. Moana hears a sound and people pull up in the island. More people start to arrive to the island. Maui flies back and arrives on Motunui. He says he is looking for Simia and finds her in the sand. He gives her a gift from Moana and she looks out into the ocean. Simia runs to embrace Moana and they hug. The rest of the family joins in and embrace each other. They see other people coming to Motunui. Everything is back to normal and they embark on another journey. And the story comes to an end.